Hello Mariola, on
Hello,
behalf
madam.
of Defenders of Gibraltar, thank you very much for this opportunity. First, I'd like to ask you just a simple question. Do you consider yourself a defender of Gibraltar?
Oh, definitely. All my life. I'm glad you've chosen that name. Can I join your group?
Yes.
I'm afraid I'm not good for very much now.
You're very good for advice and you're a very good mentor. So I think that's one of the important things that we have to get out there. How do you feel about Gibraltar? Tell me.
Gibraltar is my hometown where I have my roots, where I was born and where I hope to meet my creator. And I've always had it in my, Gibraltar is the love of my life. One of the loves of my life, so to speak.
So to people who don't know you, Mariola, tell us about yourself.
I'm a very ordinary person. I'm a little bit, perhaps I'm an old person but with a young heart, because I think I've never grown up, like what's his name, Peter Pan. But I really am a very ordinary person. The thing is that what I feel strongly. And if I have to fight for what I feel, I fight till the very end.
If you had to describe yourself with one word, what is the first word that comes to mind?
Unique.
Yes.
I don't think there's another Mariola anywhere. There's no one as mad as I am, I tell you.
I would say that people know you for your hard work, your determination, your belief, equality, a woman fighter, and I dare say a mentor to many women out there.
Yes, true. I think so anyway. Well, look, as I've said, I'm an ordinary woman like anyone else. I'm a mother, grandmother, a great-grandmother, and I feel very strongly about everything I love.
And a great fighter.
Including Gibraltar.
Yes.
And since I feel very strongly, I fight for it to the end. But I think that is born in me. That's why I said unique, because not very many people feel the same way as they felt 80 years ago.
I think you would say you are a very brave woman. Many people talk the talk, but not many people walk the walk to go with that talk.
No, I'm afraid not. Because, it takes all sorts to make a world, doesn't it?
Yes.
I'm lucky or unlucky, I don't know, to be the way I am, but that's the way I am. What you see is what you get. You won't find in me anything shady or crooked or telling you one thing and saying something else behind you. No, and I'm very forthright and I'm very clear. And I'm afraid it's a double-edged sword, because I have been in trouble because of being so forthright sometimes. But that's the way I am, that's the way I was born.
Sincerity is very important to you?
I'm very sincere, and I think it's very important, most important. I hate hypocrisy, I hate double dealing and wheeling, and I'm allergic to all of that sort of thing.
Looking back into your life, which is a very exciting life, I must say.
Yeah.
I have seen many things about you, read many things about you. One thing strikes out most, and with the defending of Gibraltar in mind, you're best known for petitioning the Queen for the retention of British sovereignty.
Yes.
How and what did you do?
That was the Housewives Association, which was founded in '66. Within 3 or 4 months, what happened was that at the time Gibraltar was in very dire straits vis-a-vis Spain, and Spain was beginning to tighten the screw on us, and everybody was very frightened as to what the future held and so on. And the British government said that they would never enter into talks with Spain about sovereignty. under duress.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, the news was splashed, I think it was Wilson, I'm not sure, that Britain was going to have talks with Spain and they were going to sell some frigates to Spain and so on. They were very pally-pally, and of course it fell in Gibraltar like a bomb. Everybody was done. And trust the women as usual,
Women.
to react. So Angela, who was the one whose idea was to, I must say that it was her idea to found a group of some
Angela
sort.
Smith. which is-
Angela Smith,
Yes.
who, it was her idea originally to get together a group of housewives and start on fighting mainly domestic matters.
Mhm.
But then when this bomb fell in Gibraltar and everybody was stunned and there was a lot of panic. She had the idea of it. What about if we petition the Queen as a woman? And the whole of the committee agreed, and we sat down one night and drafted out a petition. We got a lawyer to, because you know, addressing yourself to the Queen is not writing a letter to anybody.
Yeah.
So we had someone professional to go through it and so on. And we announced it, and I mean Gibraltar woke up from that shock that they were in.
Yes.
And it was a big thing because I mean the Gibraltarians woke up, and we started collecting signatures in the piazza,
Mhm.
and there was such an uproar, and so many people queued up to that even men wanted to sign. But we said it's a woman's issue, as a mother, as a housewife and mother, to the Queen as a mother as well. And we didn't allow any men to
To sign.
To
Did
sign
you
the
ever
petition.
get an answer?
I beg your pardon?
Did you
Yes,
ever
we
get
did.
an
But actually the whole of the female population of voting age signed, every single one of them,
Brilliant.
according to the records at the time.
Brilliant.
And the men, we kept the men away, but the men were very good. They wanted to help. So one man made the box where the petition was going, the other one put up the banners, the other one. It got to such a state, we were collecting signatures for about 3 days only, and it got to such a state that I had to sit down at the back and organize a roster or something, and we announced that we needed people, volunteers, to go around the blocks and around Gibraltar, Casalon Bay, to the elderly, to people who couldn't come
Yes.
to the spot. And you should have seen how many people, how many cars and things people volunteered. And a local paper printed flyers and leaflets and so on. I mean, it snowballed in such a way that we never imagined it would be such a big thing.
I guess the unity was tremendous.
Well, the thing is that we have a fault in Gibraltar. The Gibraltarians have their faults, I know. But you don't love because of your good points. You love in spite of your failings. Sorry.
Yes.
And what we did is that the men in the background did what they could and helped quite a lot. And we had about 10 or 11 cars going around Gibraltar taking people to collect signatures from the elderly, from out of the way places, from people who are housebound. And it was fantastic. It was really a big thing. And when it finished, we wanted to take it to Her Majesty the Queen in person. And that was when the fight started, because the governor advised us to do it through the proper channel. He's a representative of the Foreign Office, the Colonial Office at the time, etc., etc. And every obstruction that we met, we said no and no and no. We want to give it to her personally. We were so stubborn that eventually we managed to get to London with it. Angela Smith and myself flew to London, and even there we had obstructions.
Yes.
I remember it wasn't the foreign secretary, at the time it was colonial secretary. I know his name, but I don't like mentioning name. I remember he called us to his office and he said, well, you can give the petition here and we'll pass it over to Her Majesty because that is the proper way to do it. And I said, no, we've said this to the governor in Gibraltar, we've said this to everybody who suggested. I mean, hard-headed Mariola. But Angela was weaker. I could see her deflating when the colonial secretary said this. And after much discussion, I lost my patience, which I rarely do, but I thought, well, this is it. It's either do or die here. And I said, what's the matter, Angela? And she went like this, and I said, don't you worry, the petition is going to Her Majesty, the Queen, or to the Queen of Sheba, or else we go out of here to Trafalgar Square and burn it up, and call the media and say that it's been refused. That frightened the minister, the colonial minister. And eventually we got out of there expecting some reaction. And on the following day it came, a letter from Buckingham Palace that they were going to receive us at such a date, at such a time.
Brilliant.
So I don't know how it happened, but it trusts hard-headed women to do that.
Brave woman, a believer in what you were doing.
What I believe in, no matter what anybody tells me or do. My mother used to say when I was little, and I was very hard-headed, and she used to say, this girl, I'll bash her head in, and she still goes on saying the same thing. She won't give up. She won't give up.
Yes.
And I'm still the same. I'm 86 years old now. Next birthday.
I suppose a fight, if it was easy, wouldn't be a fight worth fighting for.
And Gibraltar was worth fighting for.
Yes.
And I said to the colonial secretary, look, the women of Gibraltar have all signed this petition to her queen. Not to you or to the Foreign Office or to the governor or to anybody. And to the Queen it's going to go, Angela. If it doesn't go to this Queen, it will go to the Queen of Sheba. Or else we'll burn it in Trafalgar Square. Say that.
Amazing. Out of every other thing that you've done as an association, as you said, previously known as the Women's Housewife Association, this petition was what we would call entering into the political world.
Yes.
And very dangerous place to be in.
Yes, well, never mind about the political issue. I want to say this, that I am not political in any way, shape or form.
Good.
I am not, when I go to vote, I vote according to my common sense.
Yes.
But not through this party or the other. And I've never been a fanatic on anything, including religion, which I adore because I have a lot of faith. And I wasn't going to put religion or politics into this thing.
No.
This was a general thing.
Very
We had Indians, Moroccans, everybody coming to sign the petition.
Yes.
And I wasn't going to give it to anybody except the Queen. And that's eso lo que había.
Very good. Going through other achievements that you've done, I noticed you have a book next to you. Can you
Yeah.
tell the public about your book?
You want to hear about this?
It's for
Well,
charity?
everything you're going to ask me about it, everything that was done then, it's all here.
The
A
book
Woman's
is-
Place.
Yes.
I made a mistake in the title. I should have said A Woman's Place in a Man's World. But I always leave the men out of everything. It's A Woman's Place, Memoirs of a Gibraltarian Woman, Ajanita.
Perfect.
100%. And it's all here. But the next thing that happened, before I forget, the next thing that happened soon after, this petition was in March. It went to Buckingham Palace on the 23rd of March at 10, 1966, right? By August, we had another shindig with the women, the labour force. The female labour force.
Yes, that was what I was going to go into now.
It seems we jumped in at the deep end.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. As if getting a petition isn't hard enough, we noticed that from July to August, There was the removal of the Spanish female workers, and you actually did a voluntary. Tell us about
Yes, the
it.
thing is that we realized that that Gibraltar would come to a standstill. Because listen, the hotels, the tourist industry, the elderly homes, the petrol pump attendants, I mean everything. Most of things were manned by men then. Women were known to go out to work. But I remember I was in Sandy Bay with my family, and of course at the time, because things were very grey in Gibraltar, everybody had a little radio on the beach. And we heard on the radio, GBC was giving out news bulletins every hour and so on, and then suddenly they gave a news flash that Spain had removed the female labour force and were never to be allowed into Gibraltar anymore. And everybody was stunned. I was in one beach. Angela Smith was somewhere else. Remember, it was the age of no technology, no mobile phones,
No Facebook.
no Facebook,
No Twitter.
no nothing, not even a calculator.
Yes.
So I went to the lifeguard and I said, I went around the beach and I saw members, women who were members of the association. And we all discussed it, a sort of meeting on the beach and so on. And then the lifeguards, I went to the lifeguards and we said, couldn't you do us a favor, let us use the phone. So we had to use the phone, which didn't work half the time, but anyway, we used the phone and rang somebody. The other lifeguard on another beach, in Eastern Beach. And from there, the lifeguard rang some other beach and so on. And then one of the lifeguards offered to go in his motorcycle and spread the news. It was word to mouth.
Yes.
That this was on, the Household Association was calling a meeting that night at 9 o'clock in the parish hall, which is now a mosque, no?
Yes, yes.
Or something. Believe it or not, 500 women turned up.
500 women.
Turned up that night. And we said, look, this is happening. We can't allow Gibraltar to come to a standstill just because on Franco's whim. What are we going to do about it? Do we form ourselves into a volunteer force and send women all over the place and cover, so that tomorrow that was a Sunday, so that tomorrow when the shops and everything else opens, there's staff there and we don't need them anymore. So everybody stood up, and so we did that. Everybody put their names down. Some of them put next to it, I'm a dressmaker, I can do the pump attendant, I can do this, I can do that, I can do the other. Next morning we started operating from our homes on a phone.
Right.
But it was very difficult. And because there was such a publicity, the Chamber of Commerce very kindly offered us their offices, which was then on number 23 Engineer Lane. So they gave us a room there with telephone and everything. And we announced it, we made a press release, announced we were there, anybody who wanted to volunteer. And we filled up every post in Gibraltar.
That was left vacant.
Every post.
Amazing.
But you know what happened then, Anne-Marie? Because women hadn't worked before, very, very few, it was in the age of the old tradition. My fathers didn't allow their daughters to work,
Yes.
the mothers wanted their daughters to help them in the house. The boyfriends didn't like their girlfriends to go. The old tradition was still there. But since then, lots of the women who went out to work, after 2 weeks, they started saying, well, I intend to stay, but I